Lorulian Historian
I'm not saying anything.
asks today at 10:59 a.m. What's your take on the notion that the Twili, or more accurately, their ancestors, the Interlopers, were originally a coalition of magic users from various tribes and not a single tri in and of themselves? So I have a video I posted a long time ago. I'm actually redoing some of the videos that I made a long time ago. The one I'm redoing right now is about Demise. Ilya kindly recorded audio for it. It also features audio from Dr. Wily and Commonwealth Realm and RMFH.
Which makes me feel really cool.
Yeah. And Connor, or Sexy Mac, is on it as well. Sexy McIntyre. So has all of them in it. I think I have like 2 sentences in the script, just enough to say I'm there. Anyways, there's an old video like that one that covers this. I don't know why I did that to my face. And there's a lot of theories from people, like literally every theory on YouTube about the Twili suggests that it's like a mix. It's either just the Sheikah, either just the Gerudo, or a mix of the two. But it doesn't necessarily explain the blue skin unless the light from the Twilight Realm just tans your skin blue, similar to how our sun tans our skin.
That was kind of my assumption, was that it was just like exposure to that.
Yeah.
Being in a different realm causes them to change physically. That was kind of my assumption.
So,
But go on.
after Twilight Princess, there is 4 swords. So, hold on. I gotta remember the name. Desiree.
Zuna tribe? Is that who you're bringing up? Ah, the green people.
Yeah.
The most annoying of tribes.
So, there is a tribe that lives in the desert, not the Gerudo, that appear after Twilight Princess in Four Swords Adventures in Zuna Village, and they already have similar colored skin to that of the Twilight, and they just happen to live in the desert where the Gerudo and the Twilight and everyone else live. But they're not tan like the Gerudo. They have skin. Like you really can't tell because they're like 2D sprites. But they have the same similar skin tone. And my theory suggests that it's a mix of the 3. The one that I posted. Because no one ever mentions the Zuna, and I thought it was weird because I'm like, well, they have the same colored skin, and the game takes place literally after Twilight Princess. So it has to be more than a coincidence. What was it? Ganondorf was in the Twilight Realm with the people, whatever, and yeah, like he was in the Twilight Realm with the Twilight people. And when he gets out or whatever, like it's a different Ganondorf in Four Swords Adventures, I think. But the weapon, the trident that Ganondorf gets is being held by the Zuna. So like there's another connection there, I think. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's just a mix of the 3. Like, because they're magic users, like the Sheikah. We know Gerudo were probably sent there like Ganondorf was. Like, whoever the Gerudo were that was following him. And then the good Gerudo were left on their own. Because not all of them followed Ganondorf. Because if they were all sent there, there would be none for Breath of the Wild, I guess. Depending on where you think. I don't know. It's confusing. Anyways, yeah, I think it's just like a mix of the Zuna, the Sheikah, and the Gerudo. So it's like just a mix of the 3 races. And then that's how you get the skin tone. That's how you get the magic users. And the connection with the Gerudo is still there as well, as Zant's throne has like the Gerudo symbol on it, like behind him, I believe. And yeah, so basically what Laurulian was saying about it being a tribe that was like a mix of races, I think it's the same. But those are the three that I think are like mixed together.
Yeah, I mean, I always assume there's probably some Hylian in there as well, because a lot of them look very like. And I feel like it's just sort of maybe a group of people that were attempting this that had some kind of alliance that just got banished, and not like all the Sheikah got banished and all the Gerudo got banished, or what have you, that some people kind of assume. So
what's the term that people use when it's like a bunch of different races, like a melting pot?
Yeah,
of like different races. I don't know. When I was in middle school, that was what they used. They would say like America's a melting pot of races, because there's like tons of different cultures and races that all mix together.
I talked about that in my senior thesis.
Oh,
interesting.
You know what's funny is there's an old social studies textbook when I was in high school that referenced that, and a lot of people say America is a melting pot of cultures, but we think Canada's a hearty stew because it doesn't melt them down, but there's just chunks of everything. And I always was like, this is a really weird book. Like, who wrote this?
Was that a jab at us? Okay.
Is this a joke? Is this just like the metaphor both kind of make no sense? So it was weird.
Yeah.
Yep. High school textbooks that were like 10 years old already. So. All
right. So that's my thing. Ilya, what do you think about the tribe, the Twili? They make masks. They make masks.
I don't know why. I don't necessarily think this now, but I was this was back before I really understood the timeline a little better. I mean, then again, how do you understand the timeline? But because it's confusing. I had, again, this isn't necessarily what I think now, but I had at one time thought that they were the result, like that it was low roll in a sense for some reason. I had that that they were like
low roll or the dark
like
world.
Low roll. What do they call it? No, low roll, because I'm thinking of A Link Between Worlds.
So this wasn't when you were younger. This was like a few years ago.
I say younger. I was still in college.
College isn't younger.
Yeah,
college is like. All right.
I feel old, but like I had this thought until I understood that they were in timelines. That maybe those are the people of low rule. If they hadn't had their Triforce restored, I don't know. That was just a weird phase I went through. I was really confused, and then I actually played the two games, and I was like, oh.
But actually, that kind of would make sense.
We can see what the Bible says about the Twilight.
But if
that
the
one's
Triforce
wrong,
was
though.
only restored in one timeline and wasn't restored in the other one, let's say.
That's true, because we never see low rule in another timeline.
And in low rule, let's say it's falling apart. Yeah, and from what we see of it, right? Like huge fissures in the ground, canyons. It's like literally the land is falling apart, the earth is splitting.
Yep.
And when you go to the Twilight Realm, do you see any ground whatsoever? Like,
no.
It's literally just buildings that have been suspended in the air. Those are the Kikwi.
It says, the Twilight were once a group of criminals who sought the power of the Triforce using magic and were banished from the Light World. Sounds like
Australia.
Every other parallel world.
Australia.
To the Twilight Realm, they maintain a monarchy much like those in Hyrule, and their leaders are generally those with the strongest magical power.
That sounds... Okay.
That literally answered no questions.
That's very...
Yeah, it said criminals.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not necessarily like one race. It's just a mixed bag of criminals that got sent away.
And kind of like what was talked about in the Majora's Mask thing that I just did a voice over for, about how, with the tribes, the ancient ones, this tribe, they never really give names, so it lends way to it could just be a little bit of everything. In this timeline, they call it this, but in this timeline, they call it that. Also, I just always thought it was freaky they had red eyes.
Yes. I always did think there was also a connection between the ancient tribe as well. The Twilight race, because of the Majora's Mask eye design that's similar on the Few Shadow. And a lot of the sort of motif with all the lines and the complex designs are similar, but if you compare the two, but less colorful, obviously, on the Few Shadow. So I figured there may have been a connection there, or maybe some of the ancient tribe were banished, and they kept throwing more people, just criminal, banished, just pop them into the Twilight Realm. So it could have started as one tribe, and then they just kept more and more people in there, and everything just fused and became one tribe after hundreds of years, or who knows. There's so much that's not explained, so.
Hyrule is... thinking about it, Hyrule's horrible, because there are all these different realms, and, like, anytime there's bad people in Hyrule, they just send the bad people to the other realms.
They just banish them to the sacred realm.
Instead of keeping them,
seal them away.
In an actual prison, they send them to other areas. So, like, what was it? So the Dark World was originally the sacred realm, the realm of the gods. That's where, like, the Light Temple was, where the Triforce was kept. It was basically like a version of Hyrule's heaven, I guess. And then all of the bad people kept trying to break in to steal the Triforce. So
and then they banished Ganondorf to there.
Yeah, so what they did is, like, they sealed it off to where those bad people couldn't come back to Hyrule. So they left all the bad people there to terrorize all the people who were already living freely in that realm. And they did the same with the Twilight Realm. So, like, if people already existed in the Twilight Realm, then they're just sending all these bad people there to get away. There's a fly. Get away.
Well, and you kind of see the repercussion of that with Zant, because he was like a kind of a miserable failure, weakling guy that thought he should be the king, but he would not have had a chance at being king. And then the sages are like, Ganondorf's a problem, we can't execute him, banish him. And they send him there, and Ganondorf's able to use Zant and corrupt him and give him more power, and then that ends up biting them when Zant invades Hyrule. So it's just like this mindless, like, cycle of banishment and sealing away that really causes them more trouble. Because same thing as well, Ganon in A Link to the Past was Ganondorf sealed in the Sacred Realm from Ocarina of Time, and he corrupted the Sacred Realm and turned it into the Dark World, and then was able to attack Hyrule as Aghanim. And so basically that was bad. They shouldn't do that. Yes. Thank you for attending my sermon. Thank you, everybody.
All right,
I will do lectures every week.
Who all has picked a question?
I have.
I did a quest.
Okay, so all three of us have?
Yeah.
All right, Ilya, pick a question. The final question.
No question. Wait, where'd it go? Where'd the thingamajigger go?
Oh, earlier someone was asking where I got this. I bought it for $30 from an Etsy shop, I think called We Wear Crochet. And she actually, her daughter is a fan of the YouTube channel. So when I first purchased it, she sent me a message and was like, hey, thank you so much for buying the hat. You made me the cool mom because my daughter is a fan. And she got excited because I was making a thing for one of the channels that she likes. So you can go there, and she makes, I think there's the Picori hat to look like Eslo.
Oh, that's neat.
There's like Pikmin hats I said that specifically. There's a bunch of different. There are Nintendo and non-Nintendo related crochet hats. I wanted a Link hat to wear for the podcast, something to make me a bit more nerdy. And if my hair wasn't completely fixed or whatever, then I could just like wear a hat, you know? So
Yeah. She's in our Discord too, isn't she?
I bought it,
She's in the Discord.
and it was the coolest one that I seen. So
Oh, he's not wearing his headphones.
that's why I got
Jesse,
it.
Jesse.
And it was
She's in our
handmade.
Discord, right? Though?
We wear crochet.
Yeah, she's in our Discord, isn't she? As well.
I don't know.
I thought she joined. At least I might be wrong.
I've seen her in the live chats because she's like, "Thank you for wearing the hat."
Free advertising.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Ilya, you
Cool.
found the thing.
have
have
you
found the thing.
decided?
So, yesterday at 10:27 p.m., Jonah from across the river asked, in what region of Breath of the Wild's Hyrule would you like to live? And I mean towns, ranches, isles, or anywhere. And thinking on that, I did wonder, I was like, are we talking about when it was in a good state, or... Well, he said Breath of the Wild's Hyrule, so I assume 100 years,
Like
the bad
post
Hyrule.
calamity.
I guess, yeah, post-calamity. And while the calamity's going on, I would probably say, as much as I don't really care for staying in tropical places for long, and I hate fish, I would actually probably say, oh my gosh, what is it called? Starts with an
Lorelin
L.
Village.
Yes, Lorelin
Ooh.
Village.
That's what I was
Because
gonna
that's like the
say,
most
too.
peaceful place there is.
I have a thing for you on that. Kakariko Village is a village for the Sheikah.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine the Sheikah, and this is just speculation, since there are so many Sheikah living there, and they all study the culture and stuff, they have some sort of protection to keep the monsters from coming in.
Yeah. I feel like all the places do. Have you ever, like, accidentally gotten, like, a skeleton Lizalfo to come chasing after you, and then you get to a certain area near a stable, and they just stand there?
Yeah.
Can't come. There are NPCs nearby.
Nah, I've never had that happen actually, but
Well,
I have
there's
to
some
try and
people
do
that
it.
have
Stop.
taken, like, guardians to the stables and stuff.
There was a little, gif of, they got a Stalker Guardian and a, Hinox together, and the Hinox just, like, swatted the Spider Guardian, the Guardian, and it just disappeared. And it was hilarious.
Nice.
I also saw one where they got a stone guardian to fight, and the poor guardian didn't stand a chance because it couldn't. The stone talus' weak spot, it couldn't hit it with its lasers. It hit it straight on and wouldn't do any damage. And the stone talus would then like throw its rock arm at the guardian and whoop its butt. Just,
I
like,
could
never
see Breath
stood
of the
a
Wild
chance.
Link doing that, and then sitting back and like just eating some of his food or sipping tea and being like, "This works."
I want to imagine him eating food delicately, but all I can imagine is going like,
Yeah.
like just.
Wasn't there an evil guy living in Kakariko?
A which guy?
There's a bad guy living in Kakariko?
Kind of.
Sort of.
Well, I went out of focus. I'm here. Sort of. He was like a Yiga defector. So he used to be in the Yiga clan, and he
Yeah.
quit and joined the Sheikah. And then the Yiga killed his wife, and were like, "You're gonna be our informant, or we're gonna kill your children." And so he would leak information to them in order to spare his kid's life. And then once he finished the side quest, basically free him
Yeah.
of that
That's so
obligation.
sad.
It is. It's like one of the most like, oh my goodness, it's like
You feel
really
so bad for
heart-wrenching.
him.
Yeah.
I always feel bad for the older daughter, and she's trying to cook, and you know,
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, "I can't be like mom," and I'm like,
Because their mom is dead. It's ching. Honestly, it's
"There's a
heartbreaking.
lot of sad stuff in there."
Yeah.
But yes, that is my answer, Lorelin.
Lorelin
Because-
Village.
Yeah.
I was
I
between
like some of the other
Hateno-
villages, but
Yeah.
So
I choose
the
Laurelin as well. it's so peaceful, and it's got such a nice atmosphere to it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's that vacation spot that you want to go to, and
I've heard so many people say that they've played through like 100 hours of the game and they never knew Laurelin Village existed.
that was me.
Yeah.
It took me so long to find it before realizing it was even there.
Nice.
I think I had already heard about it by the time I started playing Breath of the Wild over Christmas, I guess. And I got to this point where I had opened up the entire map, but I was like, I feel like I'm missing a village, and I was like watching a theory video or something, and they were like in Laurelin, and I was like, I haven't found that place yet. So I kept trying to find it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's one of...
Actually, surprisingly, thought about the Rito village for a split second. I thought about there because I like cold weather.
Oh, yeah.
Rito it's nice as well, but I feel like I'm like too worried about heights myself.
Yeah.
So I would not be comfortable there.
They would
Obviously,
catch
I
you.
couldn't live in Gerudo Town because
It's
they
too
wouldn't
hot.
let me in.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
I
it's
could
too
live
hot.
there.
Too.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be too hot for me. I'm Canadian. LA was too hot for me. So
Yeah, try living
would
where I
not
am.
be okay. I would not be okay in Gerudo Town.
I like the idea. For me, I would go back and forth on the idea of living in Gerudo Town for a couple of reasons. One, because I hate the heat. But also, there's part of me that's like, wow, I wouldn't have to, like, I know I'd be accepted there immediately, but at the same time, when I lived in an all-female dorm, like, it was an all-female dorm that had about 500 women in it. I'm sorry, too much estrogen. No, women are too
They
crazy.
Tell you, you are too short. We cannot see your abs.
What?
There's a Gerudo in Gerudo Town. If you talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, it's nice to see a Highland lady like you around," and you can tell her, "Actually, I'm a Gerudo." Like, that's a lie. And she'll be like, "No, you're not. You are short, and I cannot see your abs. You are not a Gerudo." And I'm like, okay, also, all the Gerudo have red hair, but sure, let's go to the abs thing.
That's why we know he's not a Gerudo.
Wow.
That's how you know.
And it's funny that they all have red hair, considering you don't know who they're getting with to breed. And
Dominant
that was not the
gene
way.
in Gerudo.
Well, isn't there
genealogy,
one...
I guess.
I guess because I'm thinking in, I guess real life. I think because it's not it's a dominant gene. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a weird line.
Well, there is
Then
It
again,
is,
the...
but it makes me laugh.
There's the side quest where you help the Gerudo find someone.
Yeah.
So we know who she's getting with. But anyways. And then there's like the weird Zora relationship with like the Zora and the Hylian.
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable.
And like one's like hundreds of
Because
years
Zora's-
old. Well, like one's like a normal person, like normal age for a human, and then the Zora is like hundreds of years old, I believe.
No, isn't it that it's a Zora child, but because Zora lives so much longer, they're like, she's still older than him or something? Is that, or am I thinking of a different one? Is there more than one weird Zora relationship?
I don't know if I know what this is. Need to
There's
play
a
more.
side quest where you have to help guide. She puts her letter in like a barrel, sends it downstream.
Oh,
You have to help guide
yeah.
it. She's a child. He's a Hylian adult. But because she's a Zora child and Zora lifespans are so much longer, she's actually older than him. It
That's
was something
weird.
weird like that. And so yeah, it's just they end up being in a relationship and it's weird. It's really, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because you all, I don't know. Looking at that, I guess I'm like, you're older than him, but I can't help but think this is not okay because he's older, but he's not. But he's an adult.
But yeah,
You're older.
weird interspecies relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel.
So-
Okay, so quick recap because we got off topic. Ilya, where do you want to live?
Lurelin.
Daniel.
You know what? I want to say Laurelin, but I feel like maybe
We could be
Hateno Village would
neighbors.
nicer to live with because they have more general, like they've got a general store that's got more than seafood to eat. And
What place was
I
it?
hate
Feels-
seafood.
Hateno.
Okay.
Hateno seems just like a nice place to live, but the thing is, like, when exploring the villages, like, Laurelin has such a nice... that's my first thought. If I overthink it, and logically I want to say Hateno, but just my first thing that comes to my head is I want to say Laurelin. So I'm just gonna stick with that because
We could be
so-
neighbors.
be neighbors in this fictional village. It's so quaint though, and it's so atmospheric, and there's the ocean. I grew up on the west coast, so I love the ocean. So
I grew up on the East Coast.
And this is Hyrule. You know what's crazy? We see these areas like Laurelin Village and stuff, and imagine
Right.
they look similar to how they did 100 years ago because they weren't part of the castle that was destroyed.
right.
But we never see the destruction of a few villages like spread out that were never restored.
Right.
One of
So it's
them
possible
is
some
like
of them didn't exist even.
Yeah.
100 years before.
so like Lon Lon Ranch. We see it destroyed. We know what it looked like in Ocarina of Time, but we don't know what it looked like 100 years prior in Breath of the Wild.
Right. But there's a village. There's like the Mabe Village ruins, which are like right beside the ranch ruins. There was like it wasn't just the ranch. There was the ranch and a whole village there.
Yeah, it was like everything that was in Hyrule Central Field. Because like to
And then-
the left of the castle, it's where you get like some of the DLC chests.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like destroyed stuff. Anyways, I would say I like the Laurelin village as well because it's right next to the ocean. And then there's that cool swirly land thing. I think no.
Mm.
Yeah,
There
there's
is-
one. There is one there. Near Palmora Ruins, there's the beach that rolls out, and there's two that are like swirly up, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
Is there? You're right.
And I remember like one of the funnest moments that I had was just doing a live stream and like trying to shoot the birds that were like flying over the lake. And then like it would drop the food down in the water, and then you have to like swim out and get it. And then there's also the fish and stuff. It seemed like one of the most thought out villages in the game because there was the market area, there was the place where like there was the boat, the guy like trying to protect it. There's the guy like trying to, I think he's trying to cook food. And then they have their symbols, like the Zonai symbols are like all over, which add it to the lore of the Zonai, the ancient barbarian people. So, it's a lot of stuff. I guess that's the end of the mailbag.
I guess.
And
so.
the end of the podcast.
Yes.
Alright. So, Ilya. Who are you and why are you here?
I'm here because Jesse hired me a few months ago, and it's been
Oh.
great.
I hired you.
Well, I won a
Yes.
contest, and I did a voiceover once, and then y'all kept me.
Hiring
Basically,
makes
that
it
was
sound
how
like
that
you people
happened.
work for me. I don't like that term. Like, Daniel's
will
more
say-
in charge of the podcast than I am.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because, like, every time that we have the podcast, I'm like, Daniel, when are we having the podcast?
Well, then Kayla too, because a lot
Yeah.
of times, I don't know. But you're right. I guess just the timing.
Like, I put it
You
all
the-
together,
you do all the
but...
hard work. you do all the hard work.
Well, like,
I'm
I
just
do
like,
the,
yeah, I'm
the
good-
research
I'm
and
good for
stuff, but... Yeah.
But yeah, I do voiceovers here, but I do other things too. So if you want to look at my YouTube, which is just Ilya Rose, I do videos, mainly Zelda, but sometimes other things, every other Wednesday. And you can find me at Rose_Ilya on Twitter. You can find me on the Instagram at IlyaRose_GeekApprentice. And Hyrule Amino, I just actually did something on there. There's some contest thing that I did something for.
We're
But
supposed
you
to
can
be
find me on
working with
Hyrule
them
Amino
sometime soon.
at what? What am I doing? What is my name on there? It's just Ilya Rose and then like a couple of emojis, hashtag Secret Zeldas or whatever. Yeah, I did something recently on there. I made my own. The challenge was to create what you think the Hylian Knight's code is, like what their ceremony is or whatever. So I made my own long list of codes that a Hylian Knight would have to adhere to. Yeah.
You should make a video about
I only
that.
spent an hour. I thought about that. I was like, how could I incorporate this? But I don't know. It didn't really have anything to do with Hyrule on its own. It's more like just my own variation of a knight's code. The ceremony had things that had to do with Hyrule itself. But, yes.
Alright, so what was your last YouTube video about that people can go check out?
My last YouTube video, ironically, was about mysteries in Legend of Zelda. When I started recording for the mysteries in Majora's Mask, I was like, LOL, my next video is about this. I listed my top 5 mysteries that frustrate me throughout the Legend of Zelda. Most of them were Ocarina of Time. But yeah, I talk about mysteries like Goron reproduction. What is that?
They throw rocks at each other. Alright. Daniel, who are you? And why should we care about you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CaptBurgerson, CaptBurgerson. And also, I have a site called Burgerson Media or burgers.com, which is a shared channel between myself and some other collaborators, and I have intentions to actually upload things there again at some point, but there is a nice playlist there. You can go watch some videos I worked on there. Otherwise, I am also here every week. Jesse! He's back.
It froze up on me, so I exited out and came back in. Alright, but continue.
But yes, every single week on this very podcast, you can find me here, and that's where I'm the most active of all the things, so please come hang out. We love having you guys come and tune in and everything else, so that's all I have to say. Back to you, Jesse.
Alright, I am Jesse, GameOverJesse. Actually, Brett commented on Instagram, because I took a picture of, like, I was watching Tevi's live stream on my TV while I was editing, and I took a picture and posted it, and he was like, so when are you going to rebrand the channel for, like, everyone, so it's not just, like, my name? And I was like...
Game over everyone.
Yeah, I was like, maybe. I don't know how to, like, I don't even know if I would be able to, like, change the URL from, like, I don't know.
I don't know, but we're all here because of you.
It's a thought.
That's true.
You're the GameOverJesse.
It is your channel.
So that's the weird thing is, like, so I got the name GameOverJesse as inspiration from one of my favorite YouTube people, Greg Miller, or GameOverGreggy, and I had him. He was one of the first interviews I did, which is crazy because he's also, even though we've had people from, like, Breath of the Wild, and, like, I had the drummer from the band Escape the Fate on the YouTube channel, by far the most famous person I've had on my channel was Greg. And I had him on my channel when my channel first began. And then, like, we kept in touch and everything casually over, like, a few years. But when we, like, the group was at E3, Daniel knows the story because he was there. Some of the people in the chat probably know because they've watched videos. But, like, whenever we ran into them, it wasn't just me being like, hey, you're blah blah blah. Like, they got excited to meet me as well, and, like, meet my group, and it was really cool.
It was really fun.
Cause, like, they're
Jesse.
yeah, I was like,
called just like, hey, this is GameOverJesse, guys. it was exciting.
yeah. So, like, she was getting excited to see. She was their I guess you could call her, like, she's their social media person, and, like, their
Publicity.
assistant. Yeah. And then, like, half the group was with her, and she got excited and stuff, and then the other half were, like, coming from the bathroom or the restroom. So whenever they came up, And then we noticed each other, and then they got all excited, and we took pictures, and I was excited, and I think everyone is excited except Daniel and Kayla. But then they got excited whenever Daniel seen the completionist, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I got very...
And I didn't...
kind of froze up. And the Nintendo Minute guys, Kit Ellis and Krista.
Yeah, and I didn't know who...
I got a little, I froze up a little, got excited just about that, so...
I didn't know who the completionist was, but I seen Daniel running, so I just ran behind him.
Yeah, well, Gibbs
must be
as well
important.
had, like, this intense power walk. I don't even know, I was, like, keep up, and he was, like, just walking somehow.
Yeah.
So...
And then he
but-
complimented Gibbs's beard.
Yeah. No, that was a
Alright.
highlight.
Legend over
Wow.
Jesse, RPG says. No, it has to be something without my name, RPG. That's
That's how people
That
know
was
you.
the...
So, the most important thing today, aside from getting to talk to Daniel, Ilya, and Kayla,
pineapple.
Jonathan, I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry.
Jonathan.
I imagine it's like Jonathan without the H. He made, and it might be the Jonna from across the river, or John from across the river, in the question that we answered earlier. That might be the same person. But he has his own YouTube channel. Quick story about him, because he made the fan art. I seen, whenever someone's constantly commenting on my videos and I recognize their names, I will go and check out their channel. That's how I met Jonathan, who made the fan art. That's how I met Holly Wolf, because they'll comment on the videos a lot, and then people will comment on their comments and be like, oh my god, you're a fan of this person too? And they'll be like, yeah, I've watched his videos. So yeah, that's how we met Holly, and that's how we met Jonathan and some other people. And Jonathan recently made fan art that we made into shirts, so if you want to go buy the cool shirt that has me and Ilya and then Daniel and Kayla, wait, how does it go? Ilya, me, Daniel, and Kayla. So go buy the shirt. It's really cool, or you can just buy like a sticker.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's
Yeah,
really
'cause
cool. And I got so excited when I saw that posted. I was like, so
That picture made my day.
seriously, you really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you,
if any of
Jonathan.
you guys make fan art, maybe it'll turn into shirts too. But yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to say. I just wanted to give a story about the shirt, and then story about the username. Everywhere I'm GameOverJesse, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the Facebook fan page is GameOverJesse as well. Although the title for it says Zelda News and Theories, but it's the GameOverJesse Facebook page, because it has like 7,000 likes, and then the other one has like 100. So we just use the Zelda News ones. Anyways, I'm just mumbling. I'm sorry. Ilya, do you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye, everybody.
Daniel, would
What's
you?
nobbins?
I do. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Goodbye, everybody.
Stop streaming.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elia Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like, and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.